Yarg! This be the Cock and Bull podcast.
We're doing the same intro. Holy shit!
I am Spencer Faust. I'm your scabber.
Sit down. You're drunk. Daddy's taking over.
No, mutiny. Not again.
Mutiny on the SS Cock and Bull, bitches. Here we are. Welcome again to Daddy's Corner. Have a seat on Daddy's lap, because Daddy's going to envelop you in his warm truthiness. We're going on another Nathan adventure, ladies and gentlemen.
Take me,
you
Davy
waited
Jones.
for it. Oh, I'm taking you down to Paradise City, where the grass is green, and in 1099, a person
shit.
died.
I believe it.
But before that, he lived. What was his name? See, I'm Tarantinoing this.
Damn.
Peter Bartholomew, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
No, I need to give you some context for this. I apologize
Please.
once again, ladies and gentlemen. We're going on the Crusades.
Oh boy, Nathan. I feel like you are a bit of a one-trick pony, and I don't dislike it.
Yeah. I definitely have what you would call a wheelhouse right now. I apologize, but when you spend 37 hours reading about the Crusades or listening to the Crusades,
You have a
damn
problem.
You have a problem. It's going to permeate you, and you're going to want to talk about it with people. So we're on the OG Crusade, the first Crusade.
Gotta catch them all. The original 151. All right.
The original 150 with the original Crusade. So we are heading. The Franks are heading to the Holy Land.
You're bringing your Charmander. You got your Bulbasaur. Maybe catch a Farfetch along the way. Just kidding. You got to trade for Farfetch on one of the routes.
That's good. I played the original one. I didn't even know that. Good OG Pokemon reference.
I only play the originals. I'm afraid of change.
I just know Snorlax. Bitch, you've played a crystal something or another. Don't lie to me.
I played. Okay, Ruby was the first one I played. That was Gen 3. But then after that, I was like, okay, all I like is Gen 1, and I've played two different iterations of it 4 different times.
Yeah, it's good times.
It is good times. Nothing but good times. You were talking about holy people, I think.
Let's not get carried away. I was talking about dirty people. Dirty Europeans that were going to fight them some Muslims to take back the Holy Land. It's 1097, give or take, let's say. Now, the problem is with our hero is there is absolutely no backstory before he shows up in our adventure. So the backstory is, where are we? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're in Antioch. And if you played the first Assassin's Creed game, you know that's one of the places that you stab people during the Crusades. So that's where we are. We're stabbing people. We're in Syria, give or take.
Yeah.
And we're in what you would call a little bit of a downtime for the First Crusade. They have taken the city of Antioch. They've held it, but now they're kind of getting reverse sieged, which is kind of the first time in history this has happened. Karaboga from Mosul has come in and is leading a Muslim relief army to try and take back the city of Antioch. So the Crusaders are locked inside this city, getting besieged by the infidel, as you will, and it's not going great for them.
All right.
Yeah. This is what you would call the low point of the First Crusade. They were the First Crusade was definitely not one of it was one big low point, which is right now. The rest of it was pretty much, a bunch of dudes pretty excited to go get their sins forgiven and murder some Muslims.
Just a bunch of, just some dudes, just some guys chilling, taking a spirit journey, killing some people. It's just bros night out.
A lot of proto-French dudes wanting to find God by murdering brown people. I mean,
proto-Frenchmen. All right.
So to give you context, we're at the point that they were under famine conditions. They had been starved out for long enough. People were eating their shoes and were about to resort to cannibalism. Now, personally, this is just me. I would fucking eat a dude before I ate my shoe. On the hierarchy of things,
sure,
I can't figure out what shoe's gonna get me.
I've heard
isn't.
I've definitely heard the concept of eating shoes before. Here's, I think, my only bonus for eating shoes is that shoes don't fight back, as far as I understand.
Now, that is a good point. Also, I'm pretty sure Jesus doesn't look down on you eating shoes.
I don't remember Jesus having many qualms about what you wanted to eat. I mean, I feel like there would have been a lot more passages about put down the Costco-sized thing of Fritos.
Technically, wasn't Jesus very into cannibalism because he's like, eat this bread, it is my body, eat this wine, drink this wine, it is my blood. So theoretically, he'd be super into cannibalism. Like, that's
that was
his
actually,
jam.
believe it or not, that was a social experiment. You know, he was just trying to get a rise out for his YouTube channel. Nazarene pranksters.
God. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh. I don't want to know what the fish that he divided into 20ths was then.
Healthy sacrilege on the Cock and Bull.
Healthy sacrilege. The good
Healthy
kind of
sacrilege.
So, times are what you would call bleak for the Crusaders. They're basically locked in a castle, they're getting murdered all the time, and they have no food and are getting ready to eat Joe in the corner. And at this time comes forward our hero, Peter Bartholomew.
Who will die in 2 years.
Don't worry about it. Peter Bartholomew was a soldier and a mystic from France. He was part of the army of Lord Raymond Saint-Gilles.
Yeah.
Peter was initially a servant to William, Lord of Couhon.
Okay.
So
you said he was a soldier and a mystic. Which one was he first?
Well, first he was homeless because that's what all of them were on the First Crusade, but like 5 of them. But the rest of them were just hobos that were like, "We're going for a ride, boys. Get the beans."
I feel like that was all the Crusades. I feel like everybody was homeless, and they were trying to take back their definitive first home, which was occupied by people who had the goddamn gall to believe in a god that wasn't theirs.
Technically, it was the same god. They just had different prophets.
Yeah, okay, all right, sure. I am by no means a religious man.
No. In 1097, December 1097 to be exact, during the siege of Antioch, Peter reportedly began to have some visions. As you do. These visions were mostly of St. Andrew. Now, I don't know crap about St. Andrew, and I don't feel like knowing crap about St. Andrew, so that's all I know. Anyone else who knows more about him, have fun, but he's not relevant to the story. Moving on. Peter claimed that good old Andy was there, and he pointed him towards the Church of St. Peter inside of Antioch. Convenient, since that's where they were. And he showed him where he would find the relic of the Holy Lance.
Ooh, the relic. All right.
The relic of the Holy Lance. Now,
nice.
What you need to know about relics is that they're basically bullshit.
Oh, no.
Yes. But they are bullshit that people take very seriously at this time. So a relic is not necessarily even the whole thing. So do you know what the Holy Lance is? Does that mean anything to you? How does the Holy Lance gibble your giblets? It's actually the lance that stabbed Jesus while he was on the cross.
Oh shit. All right. Well, a little bit more bloody, a little less clean, that lance.
Why is that something that Christians would want? I don't know. You basically have the clue murder weapon of Jesus.
I don't know. It's up there with why we wear his murder instrument around our necks. I know it's like symbolism for he died for your sins or something like that. But still, I don't think Jesus was the one petitioning for crucifixion. He wasn't like, all right, how can we make it as painful as possible for me? I want everyone to remember this part.
Yeah. Speaking of the cross, that was another one of the more famous relics. Almost everybody and their mother in Crusade times had a piece of the Holy Cross with them, a piece of the true cross that they were carrying with them, because apparently that was just a thing that. Now again, this is in 1099, so 1,000 fucking years after Jesus was murdered, everyone's got pieces of the actual cross. But
no, shards of wood hold up pretty well that long, as far as I understand. Yeah, you put a little varnish on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nice polish, nice turpentine.
Of course.
Of course.
You get it signed by a centurion.
Of course. God damn it. So, this is again December 1097. Peter is getting his visions. That St. Andrew is telling him to go to the Church of St. Peter, and this is where you'll find the Holy Lance. Now remember, I said that it was in 1098 that we were having our problems. So again, this is December 1097, and Peter's like, nah, I don't need to tell anybody about that. We should ignore that.
To give you context,
that's not a big deal. I don't need to we're on a mission to take the Holy Land for Christ, but I don't need to mention that I'm seeing visions of where the Holy Lance is. That's bullshit.
People got priorities. We will come get that number 2.
Number 2. St. Andrew instructed Peter to tell the Crusade leaders about this and to give the lance to Raymond of Saint-Gilles when it was found.
Yeah.
Peter decided that Raymond and other leaders didn't really need to know this at the time, And so he was visited 4 more times between then and June of 1098. 4 goddamn times. Basically quarterly until June of 1098. He was getting updates from St. Andrew going, dude, the lance, it's here.
God damn. And it's not on the same like level of importance, but it's very similar to, I've been getting emails from Silky's, a nice frozen custard stand, telling me that I haven't finished filling out my employment application that I started, what was it? Let me look at my watch here. 4 years ago? They're like, hey, you still haven't finished this. We're ready to hire you.
Also needs to be mentioned that he began to lose his sight in February of 1098. Now this is likely because of the famine that was going on in Antioch at the time, but he thought it was because St. Andrew was punishing him. But again, that's in February 1098. He didn't say anything until June. So for 6 months, he thought a saint was blinding him, and he still felt that I shouldn't cause a bother.
What I appreciate about this is that clearly this man is insane and that this is a made-up tale that he's telling people.
Yes.
But why is he making himself the fucking dumbass of his own story?
But strap on, because it's going to get better from here.
I'm strapping in, I'm strapping on, I'm strapping around. Let's go.
Shuckle up, baby. So after the Crusaders took Antioch, Peter and Raymond began excavating the floor of the church, because Peter had come forward and said, hey, this is where it is, and Raymond thought, yeah, let's do this. And so they dug, and they dug, and they dug, and nothing happened. So we got roughly what was described as 2 men's statures worth deep. So 2 dudes deep in the hole.
Which back then was what, 5 feet? People were small, as I remember.
People were tinier back then, but yeah, let's assume a 10-foot hole.
Sure.
Let's assume now, as a person that dug a series of 2-foot holes, a 10-foot hole takes some doing. You're gonna need to do some work on that one.
Definitely.
And then all of a sudden, Raymond goes like, I'm not gonna, this isn't gonna happen. I don't want to be here anymore. He kind of walks out on the whole proceedings and goes outside to guard the entryway. And at that point, our good friend Peter, seeing the exhaustion of the workers, stripped his outer garments and clad only in a shirt and barefoot. Now, I have to assume that means he had no pants on, so this man is hanging brain, jumps into the hole, and begins digging with his hands. He begged us to pray to God to return the lance to the Crusaders and bring strength and victory to his people. And finally, in his mercy, the Lord showed us his lance. And I, Raymond, author of this book, kissed the point of the lance as it protruded from the ground. They found the spear, ladies and gentlemen.
Hooray! He procrastinated 4 fucking, years on this project. And then he last minute rushed it that night and he got the A. Oh, baby. It's a success story we can all relate to.
Now, in similar fashion to other religious zealots that dug up random things that they predicted would be buried in the ground that only they saw, Joseph Smith, cough.
Yeah.
The only people that were there at the time were Raymond and Peter, and no one really saw him dig it up. They just saw him, produce it from the ground. So already we have a gentleman involved, the next member of our party, Adamar of Lopoy, who was the papal legate at the time, basically the Pope's main man on the scene. Keeping him abreast of what was happening during the Crusades, and his whole thing was, this dude is full of shit, how are you all buying this? He immediately called out Peter on just having brought it himself, that this was bullshit, and that he was basically a charlatan because he was a peasant, and obviously if Jesus was going to talk to someone, he talked to a rich person.
Convincing argument, but I want to hear Peter's side.
Okay, Peter's side is, Jesus told me to come. Now, this was the other thing. There had been a shadowy figure in the back of St. Andrew's visions. There was always a second figure that Peter couldn't quite make out, possibly because he was going blind from all the masturbation. I mean, not telling Raymond about finding the lance. It turned out at this time that he found out that shadowy figure was indeed Christ. Jesus Big JC himself was there in the vision in the background going, "Find that murder weapon, baby! Avenge me!"
Avenge me.
He was ready to go. Now, so basically 4 freaking psychopaths dug up a piece of metal 12 feet in the ground under a random church in Antioch.
Yep.
Normally, this wouldn't exactly be a big deal.
Right.
But at that point, most historiography up to the point says all of the Crusaders were inspired by the Spirit of the Lord and overcame tremendous odds with the cult of the Holy Lance. By the way, a cult had developed around the Holy Lance. There was basically 2 groups, one that thought it was bullshit and one that thought it was actually the lance that murdered God 1,000 years ago.
I mean, why not? Why not?
Why not? And with Michael's secret stuff of a freaking piece of metal, they fought back the entire Muslim army to take back Antioch, to break the siege, and walk their happy asses into Jerusalem. Essentially, modern history says that by discovering this piece of metal, Peter Bartholomew rallied, gave them all a shot in the arm of Jesus, and that carried them to victory, even though it was almost certainly bullshit.
I mean, well, who knows? Success story is a success story. I choose to believe that Peter definitely had the visions, definitely found the spear, and definitely wasn't a phony bullshit homeless man.
And while that's a great thing to believe, that's not where Peter's story ends.
Oh, no. Oh, that's right, he dies.
Because it's June 1098, and this motherfucker doesn't die for another year. So what happened in that year?
Let's find out.
That's a good question. So during this time, obviously after the victory, and it was a definitive victory at Antioch. They beat back a force that they had no right beating, considering that they were all half-starved, getting ready to eat their shoes, Frankish homeless people. Peter became somewhat of a celebrity. He was essentially the de facto voice of God within the camp, because the actual voice of God, aka the papal legate, had said he was bullshit, and that didn't get them very far, whereas finding the fake piece of metal made them superheroes and let them defeat the Monstars. Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Oh, it's Space Jam. Have I not made this clear enough, ladies and gentlemen?
God damn.
The Holy Lance is Michael's secret stuff. This is Space Jam. This is exactly... whoever wrote Space Jam ripped this story off. It's Space Jam all the way through.
No, I believe time is cyclical, and I believe they ripped off Space Jam.
But what happens if Space Jam kept going long enough for them to discover that Michael's secret stuff was bullshit and he was making it all up? That's the question we have to ask, ladies and gentlemen. That's the question. Yes, they do actually find that out in the movie, and they determined it was within them all along. But what happened if that happened in the 1000s and people were ready to murder people?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you. So, Peter obviously becomes a big deal in the camp. People think that he is touched by God, that he is anointed by God, and that he is, bestowed with the touch. He can talk to God, and so everything he says becomes canon at this point. Now, the problem with that is that everything else he has to say from here on out kind of just gets crazier and crazier. So, it was at first, they thought it was a good omen, that you found the lance, we've overcome it. But then his next, decree was that he had been bestowed by Christ to weed out the sinners in the Crusade and have them summarily executed.
Don't tell me with the lance.
Oh, no. Just with regular swords. Regular swords.
Thank God. Ugh.
Yeah. He later claimed that Christ had visited him and instructed the Crusaders that they must march barefoot from Antioch to Jerusalem. Now, maybe because a lot of them ate their shoes, but the rest of them weren't really down with that idea.
No. Shoes are a recent advent. I'm sure they're not quick to give them up. They remember what it was like without shoes.
No.
Don't want to go back to that.
And so the whole time, while this cult is developing around our friend Peter, Adamir of Lipoi, our papal legate, is as loud as he will say, calling bullshit the whole time. Just going... Bullshit. This guy's full of crap. No. Oh God, I'm dead. And then Adamir dies.
Peter comes out. I just got a new message from Jesus. Everybody's got to butt chug this Dr. Pepper I found. Do it.
That's funny. right after Adamir dies, Peter's visited by someone.
Oh, is it Jesus?
Now, you'd think so, wouldn't you? It's not Jesus. Now, Adamir of Laplace was buried in the hole that they found the Holy Lance in.
I mean,
The thing that he found to be utter bullshit is where they buried him.
I mean, that's very fitting symbolism, but also it's just fucking hard to dig holes. If you've got some made, might as well. Use them.
It's the equivalent of burying the 9/11 loose change people at ground zero.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, it's a bad, but Peter was visited by Adamir of Laplace. And you know what Adamir had to say?
Mm-hmm.
He was wrong!
What?
He was wrong! The Holy Lance was absolutely true, Peter was absolutely correct, and he was being flogged in purgatory before he could be allowed into heaven for ever doubting Peter.
At least he's still getting into heaven, but no, we're gonna whack him on the fingers a couple times. God.
Flogging, it's so bad. There's so much stuff. Oh, it's not good. It's not good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not good. So, but that's good. No, the only person that dissented against him just conveniently came to him in a vision immediately after his death, saying that he was right all along. This is super awesome. Now, as we kept kind of going, though, things kept going not as good for the Crusaders, and Adamir, when he came out and said that whole, I've been tasked with finding the sinners amongst you, and you've angered God thing, they kind of started being like, maybe we don't want to follow this guy anymore. He doesn't exactly have the secret stuff. We've already murdered all the Muslims. Why do we have to follow this crazy guy with no shoes that we didn't know existed until a year ago?
I frankly don't believe that people were asking such rational questions.
You say that, but on April 8th, 1099, there was a reckoning to be had. They basically said, and by they I mean almost everyone in camp, except for the small cult of the Holy Cross that had built around him, said, hey you, we think you're full of shit. And he said, I'm for reals, Jesus is my buddy.
Now, look, it's all well and good that you say that, but how do you prove it, you know?
Well, that's a good question. Because they went, you're totally full of shit. And he went, fuck you. What do you want? Jesus is I can do anything. What do you want? And they said, trial by fire.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Now, ordeal by fire was at the time, you took a bunch of olive branches and you lit a giant fire.
Yeah.
And then you walked through that fire. And if you walked through that fire and came out unburned, God was on your side.
And if you jog even a little bit, you gotta do it again.
And if you died or were burned, you were lying. Right. So again, your options are you're immune to fire or you die.
Yeah. No.
So obviously at this point, when they go trial by fire, Peter knows he's not actually talking to Jesus and backs down because that would be crazy. No, he doesn't. He absolutely agrees to trial by fire, and they build the fire.
Oh my God, this is just a sad, delusional homeless man. Oh, this is
so
man
sad. Agrees, I am so right. Fuck you. Of course my uncle works for Nintendo. I'm going to go get Mario to play at my birthday party. Doubles down.
Fuck.
Hits on 20. Ready to go. So on April 8th, Peter, by his own choice, walks through the trial by fire.
And he totally makes it, right?
Comes out the other side, uninjured.
What the fuck?
But is mobbed by a group of zealous crusaders who were jealous of his connection with God and murdered according to his followers in the cult of the Holy Cross.
Hang on a second. According to his followers.
Yes. Now, there is a slightly different story told by the other non-insane observers of this event that say he sprinted through the fire as fast as humanly possible and was still burned so badly that he was killed by his internal injuries and then died.
Oh, boy. Oh, this poor, sad homeless man who was responsible for a lot of people's deaths. Oh.
Yeah. So Peter Bartholomew is literally, in my opinion, the patron saint of doubling down on your lie. I did not have sex with that woman. I did not inhale. He followed the lie.
I will run through that fire unscathed.
There's a lot of theories as to why he did it. Some people thought that he knew that his time was up regardless, and some people thought he's just genuinely insane. But one way or another, this guy agreed to walk through fire to basically prove a bet. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Peter Bartholomew, my favorite member of the Crusades, and I promise you, the next time I take over one of these, it will probably, almost certainly, maybe not be about the Crusades.
That's the amount of commitment I expect on this show. Nathan, you want to thank the people?
I would love to thank the people. The only people that we really need to thank are God, Big G, Kanye, Meek Mill. We freed Meek Mill this week. Good work, guys.
We did it.
And obviously the Driftless Pony Club for letting us use their song, There Were Buffalo on the Ark, off the album Cholera. Because goddamn is that a banger. It's so goddamn good.
Real catchy
and
one.
you can stream it on all of the things. And please, I mean, I know there's a small committed contingent of you, and I appreciate all of you. Just leave a goddamn review. Just do it. Spencer Stalker was able to do it. Some of you can do it. It's not that hard. I believe in you.
It does not require a trial by fire, though soon it will. So get in while you can.
Pretty soon it will. And do you want to be there when that happens? No.
You don't.
No.
It's going to be nasty.
So just write a review. Also, come hit me up on PUBG Mobile, because goddamn, that shit is good.
It is surprisingly good.
It is so goddamn good.
As an adamant PC gamer, it is upsetting how much I enjoy it for a mobile
and as
port.
a person that only has an iPad, goddamn, I can play real video games. Good work, PUBG people.
Yeah, very good work, Tencent. People, you can catch us on Wednesdays, and we love you. We love you all dearly. But leave a review, or it's fire. It's death by fire.
Trial by fire for all of you. Bye-bye.